Do you relate well to being spiritual and not religious? Are you looking to transform your life to have greater purpose and experience more joy and abundance? If you are, you've come to the right place. Welcome. I'm Neil Pinkman, the spiritual director for the Center for Spiritual Living, North Jersey. Over the past 2 decades, our open and affirming, diverse community has helped countless people in the same way. Enjoy watching. If you like what you see, check us out at cslnj.org.
We are an open and affirming science of mind community where the vibration of love lifts you, the wisdom of the ages inspires you, and the science of mind teaching empowers you. We believe that heaven and hell are states of consciousness that you experience in this lifetime, and that you are the architect of your life, and that it is never too late to know true happiness. I take that a little slower than some other hosts because the words we read have meaning, and I thank Evelyn for your motions to go along with it. You're not the only one, but I saw you out the corner of my eye. It brings together this community so that rather than a group of individuals, we are a sum greater than our parts, and we recognize that greatness within each and every one of us. I'd like to thank Cindy for our Science of Mind Everyday hosting this morning, Ed for our practitioner of the day, and I know I'm leaving someone out, but Neil's going to be our speaker, and Lynette with some wonderful music, which we will go over to now.
Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know. Be still and know. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know.
The words to say. O divine mind, creator, source, thou who are eternally present, thou who are beyond human mind's understanding. Thou who art beyond gender, beyond race, beyond color. Thou who art beyond mere existence. Thou art the source, the one, the truth, the light. Thou art balance, harmony through chaos. Thou art everywhere and nowhere. Thou art all in all unto thyself, nothing to sway or oppose thee. We know that today, as we bring our service to an opening, that thou art here, that thy love of the eons of the ages are all upon us, upon our center, and upon our world. Though many see darkness, we know that there's a light. There's a divine, penetrating spark of light, of love that is eternal, that goes beyond whatever the illuminations, the untruths of this world. And we know that you are in our center, that every heart and soul and mind that enters our center, enters our space, is blessed. We know that the world itself is blessed, whether they know it or not, we know it. We know that there's no ending and there's no beginning. There is only now. And in this now is everything. Is in the heartbeat of the earth. Is in the elements of the earth, air, fire, water. It's in the ethers. And it is God. It is eternal. It is peace and joy. And I know that as we go forward in this day, that every prayer, every voice, every song, every beat is of the highest honor to that divine mind that is eternally sharing itself, pulling us as a group, as a humanity, as a being into oneness with itself. And I say yes, knowing that all our dreams are possible, all our hopes for goodness for ourselves and our family, it is all possible. And that divine mind has already said yes. So I say yes to its yes. I say yes for all of us to its yes, knowing that we are gods. We're not the God, but we are gods. We've been blessed and are blessed with the power of decision, with the power of action, with the power of thought, with the power of imagination, with the power of movement, with the power of knowing. And I'm so grateful for this. Grateful for this truth. Grateful for this now. Grateful for growth. Grateful for infinite possibilities because God is infinite. And in this truth of love and peace and joy in our community, in our center, I release my word into the light, into the law. That is the divine mind in action, in the here and now and always. And so it is.
And so it is. Thank you, Ed. A wonderful treatment to open today. And it resonated with me that we are that light, that we have such power within us. As I minimized your Zoom, I'm sorry. In the vastness of space, this empty and dark infinity, we are these tiny specks of light that break up that darkness. And when we look with our naked eye into the evening sky, there appears to be much darkness. Yet, that deep space image of the Hubble telescope back in the 90s, we found this darkest dime-sized corner of the night sky. There's nothing there. And our telescopes found billions of galaxies in that dime-sized piece of sky. And now 30 years later, we've got new technology. We've got new insights, not just scientific technologies, but our own spiritual mindset. How much better can we see now? And what role do we serve to be those tiny pinpricks of light that turn out to be billions of galaxies strong. So join me in our December affirmation as we affirm our own power in love. And that's in our chat here. So here we go. I am the walking, talking evidence of love. Every breath I breathe, every thought I think, every exchange I have is based on and steeped in love, because I am the place where love resides. Love is the power that creates through me in all moments, and because it is love, it can only create love. I respond with love now and always, and so it is. I'll kick it back to Ed for our reading of the day.
Reading of the day. Again, take off my glasses to read. So on page 288, it is See Life Express. One should analyze himself saying, do I look at myself as from a standpoint of restriction? Do I see life limited to the eternal round of getting up in the morning, eating, going to work, coming home, going to bed, sleeping, getting up again, and so on? Break the bonds. Break the bonds of apparent necessity and see life as one continuous expression of the infinite self. And as this conception gradually dawns upon the inner thought, something will happen in the outer conditions to relieve the greater demands of necessity. Free yourself forever from the thought that God may be pleased by the life of sacrifice, that the world is any better because of your misery, or that righteousness is more perfectly expressed through poverty than abundance. Know that the greater abundance of every good thing which you are bringing out in your life, the more perfectly you are satisfying the divine urge within you. Anything you can dream of is not too great for you to undertake if it hurts no one and brings happiness and good into your life. If one were doing the work she or he should be doing, they would never become tired, because the energy which holds the universe in place is tireless. The reason we become tired is that we have cross currents of thought about our work. This arises from the belief in duality, a belief in both good and evil. And that's it.
Thank you, Ed. I look forward to seeing and hearing Neil's talk today on love, and to bring together that reading, our different perspectives, and provide some clarity on how we can tie this in and approach the world. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce our speaker today, our fearless leader, Neil, who knows more than a little bit about love.
Well, hello. And we're going to talk about the all of life today. In 20 minutes, we're going to cover the all of life in 20 minutes. It's amazing. It's like the Reader's Digest version for those who remember of life right here. And this month, the title is really A Love Affair with the All of Life, which is particularly of interest to me because it's something we really have to be. It's somewhere we really have to go. But to start with, just to kind of recap, this month of December is all about love, and we started with Reverend Evelyn, talking about love as a technology, and we'll continue through the month with some wonderful topics. But love itself is kind of a strange concept, because love, if you know, and if you happen to see the in the newsletter, the article that I put in there, you know, love's this little four-letter word, right? I mean, and some people might even view it as a four-letter word, okay? But it is simple in some of its concepts, but it's way beyond huge. It's so expansive. It covers so much. I mean, when we talk about love, that it's just almost incomprehensible when we think of it in the larger sense. It encompasses so much. Um, but in this life we're living now, we really have to ask ourselves, are we have we considered, are we experiencing the full experience of life in every single way, right? And we really do have to ask ourselves that question. Am I having a love affair with life in everything and all of it, not just part of it, not just some segments of it, but all of it, taking it all in. And I mean in a very intense way, with the full essence of life. And again, every aspect of it. So when we talk about love, we really start with God. So let's do that. And let's just start with that perspective. We know that God is all there is. We know that everything is God. We know that we are God. We are all God. We know that God is love, and we know that love is God. So if all that is true, then you are love and you are God. So let's remember then also that God is also all good, and everything that comes from God is good. And when we consider talking about taking in all of life, the full experience of life, that statement is really, really important to remember. That, you know, we're not going to be given anything that comes from God, anything that is from source. That's not going to be anything other than good. And I know that gets perplexing at times, and it gets a little confusing. And you're asking yourself, well, what about this? How could that be good? It certainly doesn't feel good. But again, taking it into the other perspective, we also know from principle and from this teaching that everything that happens to us doesn't happen to us. We say it does, but it happens for us. We look at it and say, why is this happening to me? The question is, why is this happening for me? Because if everything that happens is good and everything that comes from God is good, then the question is, what am I supposed to see in this? What is the good in this? Because it's all good. So, and I've mentioned this before many times, that every time that something comes up in my life and it doesn't feel like, you know, something that should be happening for me, I ask myself the question, what do I know? And it works every time because it takes me back to why? Why? Because everything happens for me. So there's something here for me to look at. And it's something good, because we know there's no such thing as evil. There can't be God and evil. It just can't exist, because everything that comes is good. You know, there's no punitive God. There's no punishing going on. You know, it's just our experience. Evil is just our experience of separation, which is an illusion, not a reality. So we know, just as the basis of our teaching, that we are love, that we are an expression of love. But we also have to understand at the same time that we are loved. And sometimes we forget that. And I know that probably some of the more painful times in my life is when I forgot that I was loved. And that's tough. Or also when I realized that I was supposed to love and I was not, that I could have been doing a better job of loving as well as remembering that I was also loved. So what's the real work of being human? The real spiritual work of being human is learning how to love and how to forgive. Because all those times where we forget, all those times where we're in that position, forgiveness is such a big part that we not only forgive others when the need arises, but we also forgive ourselves for not remembering, for not being in that place. So that's the real spiritual work of doing of being human. But then we get to the real meaning of life. And the meaning of life isn't found in discussing it. The meaning of life isn't here sitting doing these talks. The real meaning of life is found in the actions of love. And those actions of love are how we exchange, communicate, and experience the real meaning of life. You know, and it takes me back, and I've mentioned this before, that there was a woman years ago who I had read an article who was a divinity student at Harvard University and had been doing some work in hospice. And she was spending time with people in hospice, and this was at the end of their lives. And what she came to realize is that these people she sat with, you know, when this was getting to the end of their life in form, right, in this on this plane, they didn't talk about losing a job or some injury they had or being able to pay a bill. They didn't even talk about God much. They didn't talk about religion much. They didn't even talk about the meaning of their lives. They talked about their families. They talked about their mothers, their fathers, their sons, their daughters. They talked about the love they felt and the love they gave. They talked about the love they should have felt or they should have given. But the conversations were all about love. And this conversations were based in family because families, this is where we have that knowledge, that expression. We live our lives in families. The families we were born into, the families we create around us. And it's our first and last place, the family, where we learn about love, where we deal with love. Now, I know some of you are saying, well, you should see my family. You know, you want to talk about love, okay? But it's also where we learn about that. And it's where we grow from. And I think it's really true that, you know, if we were looking at the meaning of life is to learn how to love and learn how to forgive. But if we listen to Joseph Campbell, like we did back in those sessions, Joseph Campbell says, there is no meaning to life. And we've talked about this before. He says the only meaning to life, excuse me, there's no meaning to it the only thing that we're seeking is the full experience of life. And that full experience of life is what we're talking about today, is to fully and completely be alive. But we have to be open to being alive. We can't walk around being numb to the experience of life in any way. We can't walk around and try and shut out different parts of life and think that we're having a full experience of life. We have to understand that, yes, everything happens for us, even those things we don't like. It's I think it's I think it's what we all really want. I think what we really want is to be able to feel alive. We want the full feeling. We want that vibrant, exciting feeling. And along with that comes all the different dimensions that happen with it. And if we don't like that, if we try and shut it out, then we're shutting out all those parts that we need to experience in order to put the full dimension into our lives. And it is, as he says, our purpose here is to experience the full rapture of life, completely, all of it. But in order to do that, that means we have to say yes to pain. We have to say yes to those things that are uncomfortable. We need to be able to take that as much a part of life as everything else and know that it's happening for us. I don't know whether, when I decided to incarnate at some point, if I decided, okay, now's a good time for me to kind of experience this, that, don't know if I knew what everything I was signing up for. But it certainly was for the full experience of it. And if you're not going to do the full experience of it, why bother? Why miss this? Why miss it? Why not run the risk of those uncomfortable moments, of those moments where in order to have the full sensory experience of life, it's just like you only know happiness because you know sadness, right? Or you've got things to compare to. This feels a lot better than that. Why am I going through this experience? It doesn't mean just pleasure, the full experience of life, the full sensory experience of life. It's interesting to take and look at those moments where life isn't comfortable, but to still be thankful for it, still be grateful for it, still know that it's a gift, that it's happening for me. And certainly some of you know what I'm going through now and some of the challenges I have now. But even this is a gift that gives me the opportunity to look at life differently. And each one of those moments where things come up is that opportunity for life to say, hey, maybe you want to look at this differently. Maybe you want to shift. Maybe there's something you need to change. So those moments are a gift, absolutely a gift. They're the gift that puts the full dimension of life in place for us. They're the gift that says, let's not just live this little one sliver of life. Those are the things that let you know you're alive and you know that you feel them. It is, it's funny because I'm reminded there's a funny line from that movie Love Actually, where it's towards the end of the movie, if you know that movie, and the kid in that movie says to his father, yeah, let's go get the blank kicked out of us by love. Right? And it's like, yeah, okay, it's worth the risk. It really is. But it's these moments of discomfort that highlight all this to us, uh, and how we deal with it. There were so many things. Some of the more painful days in my life are the days where I realized how grateful I was for the love in my life. And I'm sure that's happened to you too. There's physical things that happen to us. I know with every time I look at my hand, there's a scar that runs across the back of my hand right here, and it's a burn. And that burn really hurt. And I got that burn, and this is probably going to shock Reverend Michelle when I say this, but I got that burn by cooking dinner. So she's not so sure I can do that. Actually, I'm not so sure I could do that. And I can hear her laughing right now. But that scar, when I see it, I don't remember the pain. I remember that I was cooking dinner for my daughter's family who was coming over for a holiday dinner, probably Christmas. And it was after a messy divorce, and it was getting into a new relationship. And I see that burn every day. And I feel that love every day that comes from that experience. And it's a beautiful reminder. And it's fantastic. And the dinner was marvelous. Trust me, it was marvelous.
Mhm.
So, but now listen, I'll be honest with you. I'm not so sure I could say the same thing about my kidney stones as I do about this burn. I'm not so sure what that was for, but there's some things I'm still working on. But when you think about the pain we go through for the joy in life, how can we not embrace it? Anybody out there who's given birth to a child knows that there's a small amount of pain involved in giving birth. Okay, maybe not small, but here's what I do know is that that pain must be so exquisite because women keep going back to do it again. The memory of the pain is overridden by the joy of what the pain has brought. And that's the full experience of life. That's what we want to do. That's what we want to see. And we want to say, okay, that pain was exquisite. Not that pain was crippling. And by the way, I'll be honest with you, when I've been lucky, but when I did have kidney stones and had to go to the hospital, the doctor said, "Oh, I'm going to give you a painkiller." I said, "No, no, thanks. I need to know this pain." And he looked at me like I had three heads. But I felt for some reason I needed to get this full experience and to deal with this whole experience so that I could process everything in the correct way. And it did. Had I gotten those painkillers, I don't know if things would have gone the way they did. But yeah, it's not just it's not just giving birth, but there's all those things that happen to us in life. Grief is just the expression of love. It's that uncomfortable part, but when you deal with it, you realize I only grieve as much as I love. So the level of sadness I feel because, my father has passed or a loved one has passed or even a divorce and something going through where there is that attached to it. It's like it gives me the opportunity to revisit the gift that has come because of that experience. So really, we want to say, can we feel the exhilaration of everything in life? Can we feel the exhilaration that's going to come because of the discomfort? Can we accept and say, yes, I'm willing to say yes to all of life, not just the good moments, not just the fun moments? What is it that this is leading me to? Where is the growth that's coming out of it? What am I going to be able to experience that's really, really um, a gift, a new moment in my life. There's moments where we think, oh, well, why don't I have this or why don't I have that? And again, with my experience and just having spent some time in the hospital, there's times before I went into the hospital where I thought this house was too small. I thought the landscaping wasn't quite right. I didn't think that the rooms were necessarily finished the right way. And I would sit around and look and go, well, that could be better or that could be better. I thought this was a palace when I walked in after being in the hospital. It was like, oh, this is such a fantastic place to be. Yes. A lot of that was because of the house. But what I said before, it's because of the family that's here and the love that's here. And I see the love in so many things around, but learning to love, learning to forgive, we do that here. We do that at home. We do that in the family. Uh it turns out that it wasn't this house that wasn't enough. It was me. It was my perspective that wasn't appreciating in every moment, staying present to what was here. But I have the opportunity of being reminded. And that's those nudges we get that we don't always necessarily think we want to get. So when I ask the question, are you having a love affair with the all of life? I ask you to sit in stillness, to sit with that question, to take your time and see if there isn't so much more for you to feel, that there isn't more in every single moment that you're alive here on this plane, that you couldn't feel more deeply, that you couldn't feel more loved or more love for. I guarantee you that for all of us, we could open to that and we could experience to such a much greater depth by being present to that love that is always there inside of us. The rapture of life is incredible. Open to it, enjoy it, and be grateful. Be grateful for it. Let's take this into prayer. So grateful. Yes, absolutely. We start with gratefulness. We start with knowing that the expression of love is who we are, it's what we are, it's what we come from, it's where we go to, it's what we travel with, it is the essence of our existence in every single way. And knowing that the separation is only an illusion, the separation from God. I know that I stay present. I stay present to that fact. I stay present to what I'm feeling in every single moment. I stay present to how I am experiencing life. And in each and every single moment that I do, I want to know it in the depth and the intensity, without any veil, without any denial of what is happening, so that I feel life happening always. I know that it is for me to experience and feel as much life every single day, to live as much life every single day as the gift that it is that has been given to us to experience on this plane. No matter where we came from or where we go next. What I do know is that we have this to enjoy, that we have this to experience, and that this is where we need to express the love that is deep within us in every possible way we can. I am so grateful for this gift. I'm so grateful for this knowing. I'm so grateful for all of the teaching and the people that have made this possible for me to know this and for us to come together as a community and celebrate this and support this together. And in that thankfulness and in that love, I surrender these words to the love, the law, the presence that makes it all possible. And so it is.
At the Center for Spiritual Living North Jersey, we believe in empowering individuals to discover their inner strength and their connection to divine life. Through our supportive community, transformative workshops, and uplifting services, we provide a safe space for personal growth and spiritual exploration. Whether you're seeking clarity, healing, or a deeper understanding of life's mysteries, our center offers practical tools and timeless wisdom to help you thrive. Join us in creating a more diverse, compassionate, and kind world. Your world, the way you want to create it.